Hey guys, Forrest here with Fofo Astro, and today I want to take a look at one of my favorite pieces of observatory tech or tools, whatever you want to call it, which is my robotic FlipFlat. One of the things that's really difficult if you are using a remote observatory is how do you shoot flats, because a lot of times you can't program that. Sequence Generator Pro, I know there are some programs that can do sky flats, but Sequence Generator Pro is the program that I use. And as of right now, there's no sky flat function built into it, which means there's no way to, like in the dawn, slew the telescope to a random part of dawn sky and shoot. Once more, there's no way to put a t-shirt over the front objective of the telescope in order to shoot sky flats to diffuse that light. So you're kind of stuck with what you want to do with flats. So a really great option for those of you who have observatories that that you can't access that often every night, or who want a really automated, awesome system for doing flats, check out this FlipFlat. So let me give you guys a little tour real quick. All right, so this is what the FlipFlat looks like. It's basically a black disc with this gold arm. It's made by Alnitak. Alnitak, I actually don't know how to say that. Maybe someone can correct me. But you get it from optechincorporated.com. They're the company that sells it. And basically it's just a black control box here that is plugged in via USB. It only has one USB 2 plug coming out the back of it right there. And it's this black control box and a motor, and then a little gold arm and this big flat circle or flat disc. And then you can see it goes right over the front objective of the telescope. And it's actually cable tied on, which is really cool. It just uses this big, thick plastic cable tie to hold it on. So what is it? Well, basically, inside of this black box, there's a motor, and the motor can open and close this flap whenever you want it to. Obviously, it needs to open in order to shoot light frames, but it can be closed for darks and flats, which is pretty cool. It closes itself. Now, how do you shoot flats with it closed? Well, what this actually is a light panel. In fact, you can see it faintly glowing right now. It's off, but you can see it's kind of got that nice luminescent glow, and that's just because there's light coming through from the other side of the panel and illuminating it, but that is a FlipFlat. So it lights up, it creates an evenly illuminated field for your telescope to then image, and this basically takes the role of a t-shirt and also the dawn sky. And what we're able to do is from Sequence Generator Pro, we can control the brightness of that as well as whether it's opened or closed. So if you guys think about it, throughout the night, that's open. But then at the end of the night, when it's time to shoot flats, it closes and it sets itself to a selected brightness level to then shoot flats. So what I want to do right now, this is pretty easy as far as the overview is concerned. I want to actually take you guys into the software and show you how to use it because it's pretty cool. All right, everyone. So this is the observatory computer that I'm just using TeamViewer to access remotely right now. And what I want to do, apologies for the lag, it's because it's remote that there's a little bit of delay between what I'm doing and what you see on the mouse moving on the screen. But what we're going to do is we're going to get into the FlipFlat software. Now, first thing that you'll see is this little weather station over here. I'll do a video on this at some point. This is the Sky Alert system from Interactive Astronomy. It's a beautiful system, works incredibly well for closing your roof if bad weather comes in. You'll notice I've laughably named my observatory Keck 3. For those of you who don't know, Keck 1 and 2 are on the summit of Mauna Kea. And they're the two largest ground-based observatories at the moment that are built and fully functioning. But I refer to mine as Keck 3 just because it made me laugh. So first thing I want to do is, I told you guys that the FlipFlat is powered via USB. So there's no separate power. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go into my Arduino power controller, my relay controller, and I'm just going to turn on the USB hub power to give the hub separate power. And that will then allow the hub to provide enough power for the FlipFlat through USB. So from there, I'm going to open the FlipFlat software. Now, the FlipFlat is fully compatible with ASCOM as well, so you don't have to use this software in order to control it. You have to have this software installed in order for it to work with ASCOM, but usually I'm using Sequence Generator Pro to actually do the day-to-day control. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit connect, and it is going to connect to the FlipFlat. Now, you'll notice that on Windows, and I don't know how the Mac side works, but on Windows, every USB port gets assigned a COM port. It's really important to write down which COM port is which if you're having an observatory that is remote, because you can go into Device Manager and you can independently address issues on different COM ports if you ever have them. So I have this whole separate document on my computer that lists out that FlipFlat is COM 4, And if I'm ever having trouble connecting to COM4, I can go into Device Manager and kind of figure out what that is. Otherwise, COM4 is pretty useless to kind of know what it's for. So here we are, very simple. We have a brightness control and we have an open-close control. And if I go ahead and hit close, it's going to tell me that it is closed. That's great. When you first connect to it, sometimes it says not at limit, just because it hasn't really realized that it is fully closed. And then we can also open it. And what's happening right now in the observatory is that FlipFlat is actually moving 90 degrees so that it's no longer covering the front of the telescope. And you can see now it says cover state open. And this is how we would use it to shoot all of our light frames, all the frames of the actual object that we're shooting really easily. And then we can close it, and when it's closing, it's just, flipping back down to cover the front of the lens. And like I said in the video, this thing's great for a number of things. For one, you can shoot your biases and your darks and your flats all with this thing closed. I figure with darks and bias, it's nice to just have something else preventing any light from entering the front of your telescope. It also protects the front of your telescope. I really like that ability. Just the fact that I don't have to worry about not having a lens cap on my scope is really nice. And then when you want to shoot your flats, all you've got to do is turn on the brightness, and you can see you have a full from 0 to 255. You can set your levels of brightness. So real nice brightness control. Just to give you guys a little bit of a benchmark, shooting through a 5 nanometer bandpass H alpha filter, or oxygen or sulfur, I'm usually at 255 brightness, and I'm usually shooting an exposure time of around 30 seconds. So it's not that bright, but you'll definitely need to be up around 255 for your narrow band images. I imagine if I had a 3 nanometer bandpass, it would be even longer. And then for my LRGB filters, I'm usually down around 30 or 40%. So it's really nice to have this brightness control. In fact, Sequence Generator Pro can actually adjust the brightness per filter. So I have a brightness set for each filter, and SGP just sets it as it's shooting flats. Again, the whole goal of this kind of thing is to have everything as automated as possible, so that you don't really have to do that much. So I'm going to go ahead and hit turn off. We're going to turn off the light source at this point, and then I'm going to disconnect. So that's as simple as it is. Sequence Generator Pro has all of the same options, and at some point I'll make a video on how exactly I have my flats configured in Sequence Generator Pro. I just wanted to make this video mostly so you guys could see the FlipFlat, learn a little bit more about it, and see whether you might want to pick one up eventually. I think for those of you who do have remote observatories who want that kind of peace of mind of having a lens cap or a cover over your scope, I had a bad experience with bugs, not bugs, but mud wasps creating a nest inside of one of my old telescopes. Basically made the scope unusable. They got crap all over the mirror. And since then, I've been really anal about making sure that no bugs get in my stuff. So I like this. It works really well. And that's how we can run through and use the software. So when I'm all done, I'm just going to quit out of the software. And then just like normal, I'm going to go back into my relay controller and turn off power to the hub. Because again, I'm all on battery. I don't want to waste power unnecessarily. All right, so hopefully that software walkthrough for the FlipFlat made sense. Basically, it's just opening and closing as you control it, and then you can also control the brightness. Now, these are pretty pricey. They're a few $100s. I think it's about $500 for this size of thing. But when you compare that to the amount of work that it takes to do t-shirt flats or sky flats or whatever kind of flats you want, especially if you have an observatory that you don't live at and that you're not using all the time, actually in the building, it can save so much time and effort. So I really recommend those of you who are struggling with flats, who really want the best option for taking flats, this is a really good thing to check out. Now, I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't also mention the other way that people do this, which is to mount a big flat panel on the wall. So you actually buy a flat panel, you screw it into the wall of your observatory, and you set that as a park position for your mount. So you can basically tell your mount to slew to this park position, and the scope points directly at that flat panel, and you can shoot your flats that way. It's a little bit more cost effective because you don't need the robotic opening and closing function. Me personally though, I like the ability for my scope to open and close because when I'm shooting darks, my camera does have a shutter, but it's also nice to have the peace of mind that this is in front of the lens, just protecting any sort of stray light from getting onto my sensor when I'm shooting darks or even bias frames. So really cool device, highly recommended for those of you who want it. It has been rock solid since the day I got it. Really awesome. It did have one problem. when the first one that I bought had some issues like right out of the box. I reached out to OP Tech and they actually sent me an advanced replacement. So I just put the not working one in the box and mailed it back to them, and they pre-shipped me a replacement. So that was super easy, great customer service, great company. I'm not paid by them, but I really recommend this thing. So hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you didn't, you know what to do. If you guys have a question, leave it in the comment section down below. And lastly, hit subscribe to stay up to date with future videos. Clear skies, guys. Hope to see you out there. Hope to meet you all someday. It'd be kind of fun. Unfortunately, this is my life right now. It is like completely cloudy. And it's been cloudy for about a month. So yay, Montana. Thanks, guys.